This is basically, these machines are hooked up to the computers. So after we enter the job into the program, we then, and it'll do whatever we've told it to do, obviously. If it's drawers, doors, shelves. So everything gets put in here. We hit the button for screen to machine, where it optimizes all the parts, translates all the information into code the machines understand. Now we optimize this.
People you train, do they have to know like CAD or something
No.
sophisticated? No.
No. That's basically everything in here is all the nuts and bolts. And out there they just learn to read the part labels and learn how to reference the parts into the machines. But once we've done this and we optimize the job, it tells us everything that we need in this job is right here. And there's another part of this that will tell me how many hinges, how many screws. It'll tell you everything. Then you hit the NC code and label, and that's what draws all the parts for the CNC. It takes a few minutes, but once this thing has read all the parts, you can see it'll start drawing pictures of each one of these parts, which will be, it's drawing all the parts now. And what you see here is exactly what the machines out there are going to do. Yeah, it's really cool. When we started this, I had never even turned a computer on.
Correct.
So it was pretty tough at first.
You know what? Quick question. With the software, with the tools, with the applications and all, how are you more productive now than you were several years ago?
Well, I've learned everything. You know, we obviously made our mistakes. Because when you send a big job out, if you've not put in the right dimensions for the material you're using, it really throws the cabinets off. And, you know, I learned that the hard way when we first started.
Then you waste the material.
Oh, yeah.
And time.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And time is money, and time is a killer. But now, these are all the parts here that it shows you once it optimizes. It shows you what it's getting ready to draw. So you can preview all of this
beforehand.
Yeah, and I drew this job, so I can look at these parts, and I pretty much know where they go, what they're supposed to look like. But this gives you the opportunity to review this before you send it out to the machines. Because once it's there and they start cutting, it's a real nightmare to have to get in the middle of something and change it. But our saw guy, well, he's my foreman. He came off the streets, but he's good at catching stuff now. It's a team thing. It's not pointing the blame at me because I put something in wrong. You know, we just catch it, we fix it, we move on.
Sure.
And it's the same with our customers. You know, when something's wrong, it doesn't matter if it's my fault or their fault.
Just get it done.
We get it done. We stop what we're doing. We get it done so they can finish their jobs. You know, that's very important to us to get residual business, obviously. And that's how it rolls.
Awesome. And so up until now, how have you generated business?
Word of mouth. We've never advertised. And like I said, 98% of our business is contractors, small cabinet shops. I've got 5 dentist offices going for one customer. He does a lot of medical complexes. But he's been a customer of mine, or ours, for years. I would say probably 12 years he's been a customer. But we do all of his work. He had several employees. Now it's just him and one guy because we do all the work for him. So now he has a smaller warehouse, only has 1 or 2 employees, which in order to do some of these jobs, he would have to have 7 or 8 employees.
Correct.
Especially when you're talking about me putting 7 jobs in here at once. And these are pretty big jobs. and us being able to get them done so quickly, So it's allowed him basically, at first that people look at it and think, and they see how much money they got to pay, and then they think of, well, I could do that cheaper. But when you're a small cabinet shop, you work on the custom jobs. You start taking big jobs and give it to us. So you're making money while you're building other jobs. So, and it takes a few jobs for people to understand that. I mean, I think they understand it at the beginning, but when they really realize how much they're really making off not having to do anything but install the cabinets.
Sure.
So it works out. And a lot of the people that we started with are still with us. A lot of people we do business with. But I mean, we did the Women in Distress buildings in Pompano. I think there was 7 buildings. We did everything in there. Every cabinet, countertop, we did it all.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, in regards to networking, that isn't you all's bag, basically.
No, we're kind of old.
That's got to change because...
Oh, yeah. No, that's just like these machines were the future. You know, I mean, that's why I had been building cabinets by hand. I've been doing this 35 years. So I've been building cabinets by hand for most of my career. In 06, 07, we started this. And again, I had never turned a computer on, so it was tough. And I mean, a short day for me was 10, 12 hours. I mean, sometimes I went home, slept 3 hours, and went back to work. And that went like that for probably 2 years. You know, my wife was afraid she was going to come in and find me dead. I just didn't sleep. I just
had to do it.
Yeah, she followed me around the shop with a plate full of food, feeding me while I was working.
Nice.
I didn't want to lose, and we had bought all these machines, and I had to learn them all, and I had no one there to ask questions to. So, but we figured it out. I think the first kitchen I did took me a week to draw. And my wife came to me one day and she goes, "You realize you just drew that kitchen in 30 minutes. And that was that was at the first point that I realized where I had come from.
Yeah, aha moments like, geez.
I was just so focused on learning everything and getting everything through the machines and ready to go out. Didn't realize, what I had learned until she said that to me, and I stopped and thought about it, and I'm like, man, yeah, it did take me a week to draw a kitchen. Now I did this whole dentist office. There's probably 14 different rooms in it, and I think I had it all done in probably a full day. So 8 hours, and there was 14 rooms in this dental complex. So yeah, I've come a long way.
That's a great story.
Yeah, this has been the toughest thing I've ever done.
Part of our inspiration, our Lighthouse Rotary Club, is the passion that you all share and communicate it for the work that you do.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's like a crew of worker bees, but it's one thing when it's just, this is my job versus this is what I do, this is what I create.
Yeah, I always liked what I did.
Yes.
But I grew to like why I did it. Once we started teaching people, I'd never touched a saw in my life. And my next door neighbor, back in the 80s, had a cabinet shop, and I asked him for a job. I didn't want to be a salesman anymore, and he started me at $5 an hour, and in 6 months I started my own shop. When I cut my first piece of wood, I loved it. When I smelt the wood coming through the saw, I just knew this is what I was going to do. And I think I started my first job with $5,000 or $6,000. Bought all cheap tools, and as I made a little money, I bought better tools and a better saw and better staple guns and better
put back
spray
into
guns.
It, reinvested.
Yeah. But it was I just knew I was going to do it.
Sure.
When I cut my first piece of wood.
Yes.
I'm like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
One heck of a sacrifice. Would you agree?
Yeah. I filled up a lot of dumpsters with mistakes. After 6 months, I thought I was a cabinet maker, but basically I was a box builder. And it took me getting these jobs. Back when I started, there were big fat TVs, real deep, so your wall units were huge, massive, and to learn to do all that, and I bought this little machine. I made all my own crown molding, everything. And it was, that's when I learned what it meant to be a cabinet maker. not just a box builder.
Yeah.
Yep. Box is a square box. Is
Correct.
a box.
Correct.
But that was also that was a challenge, and it was fun making sawdust. So.
Can you share with us one of your crown achievements, like client-wise, project-wise? Solving the problems. They called us and we made it happen.
We've had several. We just had a company that contracted this job through a designer, and they were not a cabinet shop. They were a upholstery company, but they took this job, and when they measured the job out, they were giving this lady everything she asked for, and they didn't really know material didn't come that size. But once they said they could do it, the customer wouldn't have it any other way. So we're building almost 12-foot tall cabinets. Nobody makes 12-foot material. So, but there's a place out in Coral Springs that they lay up beautiful materials, sheet goods for people. And the guy laid up some 12-foot boards for me. And just buying the 12-foot boards was a special order. But that was pretty cool. She was happy. We got it done for her. She had hired a guy that did it, and everything had to be thrown away. And we had to start over. And that was pretty cool. We've done a lot of stuff that's, unfortunately, we don't really see the end product a lot because we build it as per spec. The customer picks it up and goes and installs it. So the guy that I do a lot of dentist offices for, people with money sometimes I think they realize, but they don't care that, we just can't stop what we're doing after building their office because they wanted this one cabinet different. But
sure.
He comes to me and I stop what I'm doing, I get it done. I mean, he's a good customer, and he was just telling me the last job we did for him, he said the dentist was so pleased and the contractor was pleased, and he ended up with 5 more dentist offices to do. So we do good work, but it's, a lot has to do with the installer. You can build the finest cabinet in the world, and if you don't have a good installer, they can make it look bad.
Sure.
If it's out of level, all the doors will be all racked and different angles, and so it takes a good installer.
Sure.
Everybody has to do their job and do it well. I mean, to make the job successful.
And what about architects?
They're the toughest. Yeah, they are the toughest.
I always say architects try and architect everything.
Architects and lawyers are probably the hardest ones to work for. Lawyers like to threaten you if you run late, and architects are so detailed. But you get a lot of them that draw this room out, and they still think a 2x4 is actually 2 inches, which it's not. That's just the nominal size is 2x4.
Yes.
But we get through it. We know our job pretty well.
Good. Well, what's next? You have to vacate the premises, therefore needs a new location.
2 years ago, we had to borrow money to get in here, and we knew we were going to be here for 10 years. We had a 5-year with a 5-year option on the lease. He sold the building, and they're going to tear the building down.
Sure. And
they're only giving us a couple months rent back on our lease. I mean, it's really it's owned by a big hedge fund company that bought it, so they don't care who we are. They don't care that we're a charity. They just want us out.
Sure.
And I'd say we spent probably $300,000 or $400,000 to get moved in here, to get all the permitting done and all the electric done, get the machines moved, installed, calibrated again, and it was a nightmare. And then we knew we had 10 years.
Yeah.
To develop income and to try to buy a building at the end of these 10 years. And now I hope we stay in business. I hope we can weather this storm. It's a tough one because we know, and rent has gone up, and basically we have to do the same amount of electrical work. And
right.
In the building we go to, we don't know where the main power is, how we're going to set up our machines, how long the runs of wire have to be. So there's so many variables involved, but we know it's going to take $300,000 or $400,000, which we don't have.
Excellent, so. Excellent. Well, let's see what we can do. I came here prepared. Our club has a check for you.
Wow. Nice.
Another one on the way, and I took it upon myself to come and pay you all a visit. Saw the invitation from Tony Fields the other day,
Yeah.
and here we are talking to you. So this is a great testimonial, great story, and adding the visual aid to what you all had presented to us a week ago. And thanks so much for your time, my friend.
Well, look, hey, we have so many people telling us, yeah, we're going to help you out, and pretty much no one comes back to the table with anything.
Dead ringer.
We met you guys. We went to a couple Rotary meetings, and you guys are helping out.
Mm-hmm.
So that I love you guys. I mean, it's, again, if we had a big name attached to this company, there would be all kind of people throwing money at us. But we don't have that big name attached to this for the people to get recognition for their donations. I mean, basically, they give us a donation, and they don't get it publicized.
Falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
And they don't rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
I got you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, my friend.
You got it. Thank you for being here.
For sure.